Heron II, third emperor of his house and leader of humankind, circled the long conference table and the admirals, who stood before their chairs and bowed their heads respectfully. Their expressions were serious, their eyes correspondingly tired for the early hour, but their uniforms immaculate as the gold trim around the edges of the table. Having reached his seat, a slightly larger armchair at the head, he spread his arms and gestured for the 24 ranking officers of the Star Empire to sit down. As soon as the rustling and creaking died down, Heron II gestured towards his brocade sleeping robe and looked around the room. "So, what can't wait until morning?" His gaze lingered on his chief of staff, High Lord Marius Albius. "Our listening stations in the Sigma Quadrant have located a never infestation spreading toward Andal," the Grand Admiral replied. "A never infestation?" Heron II raised an eyebrow in the officer's direction, and then looked at the silent faces. Most pairs of eyes were avoiding him, so not every one of them was sitting at this table in the heart of the Imperial country estate at 4 a.m. out of conviction. "Yes, Your Grace. We have not had one of those since Rohal." "That's right. Apparently it has gathered itself," High Lord Dane Marquand interjected after the Grand Admiral gave him a prompting wave. "Because it is clearly larger than it has ever been before." "So Marquand is the one driving this meeting," the Emperor concluded. "So, presumably, also the first person to whom the listening post data had been reported. Interesting. What do you mean, bigger?" "Our preliminary data indicates that there are 3 swarms with the same destination," Marquand explained in a calm voice that nevertheless carried an undertone of urgency. "And the destination is Andal itself." 3 swarms? Heron made no effort to hide his disbelief. "The Never spreads at random. For 100 years, our scientists have been unable to detect any pattern in its expansion. And now 3 swarms are supposed to be heading for one target at once?" "Yes, Your Grace," the High Lord confirmed curtly. His gaunt figure sat, motionless, his hands folded in front of him on the ornate tabletop and his gaze fixed. He was not a bootlicker, and Heron II appreciated that, even if the man was said to have a certain closeness to Republican elements in the Senate. But perhaps that was just a fastidiously maintained stigma, so as not to appear dangerous to any of the higher-ranking members of the Admiralty. When he did not reply, General Admiral Albius gestured to Marquand to continue. "Emperor, 3 swarms are more than we can contain on the ground, and Andal is a thriving colony. House Andal is fiercely loyal and is one of the largest financial contributors to the border sectors. It is also home to important listening stations that secure the Seed Traverse and shield it from smugglers. If we don't show strength now and protect them with enough foresight, it will play into the hands of your opponents in the Senate, not to mention the many millions of lives at stake." "So, what do you propose?" the Emperor demanded, continuing to speak before the Admiral could answer. "When I was last briefed, and that was yesterday, 40 of our 100 fleets were assigned to security, asset protection, and sector missions in the Star Empire. 30 are guarding the wall worlds on the frontier to the orb." He looked to his chief of staff and opened his hands in a questioning gesture. "That leaves 20 fleets, at least a handful of which should be in the docks in the course of the current rotation. Terra's home fleets are still free," High Lord Marquand suggested after his superior glanced in his direction again. "You are proposing to send my bodyguards for containment of a never infestation?" For the first time, the other admirals at the table stirred. Quiet rustling, a cough here, a clearing of the throat there. "Yes, Your Grace." Marquand remained firm. "The border worlds are among your most loyal supporters, monarchists of the First Order, who carry great weight in public opinion because of their charisma for colonists of the inner worlds."
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it. at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.